Welcome to another edition of Two Sites Unite. I am George Phillips with oilpressure.com, and you are
I am Paul Dalby with fieldof33.com.
still. Okay, good. And if you'll notice, one of us has gone cheesy tonight and one has not. I still have a real natural background. When I moved, you don't see all kinds of digitizing going on.
I have a beautiful panoramic view of the front straight of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I can make part of Simon's car disappear.
Paul is trying to look like he is sitting in a chair on the on heading into turn one with Simon Pagenaud broken down behind him because
Sure would be nice if I could hear the sound of the cars going by though too, but
and now we just
not there yet.
So anyway, but
what are you drinking?
Coca-Cola.
Well, I'm gonna drink an unnamed beer out here. I have my NTT IndyCar series, but
well, see, your bottle disappeared.
But we're going to pay homage tonight to the youngest winner ever from the Indianapolis 500, and I don't know if we can see there, but if it quits disappearing, we have the 1952 mug honoring one Troy Ruttman.
Okay, well, we've wasted a lot of time over this.
Well, you know what? Some people might enjoy that. That might be the best part of our show.
Well, it's probably downhill from here. Okay, cheers. So, this is running on Thursday, May 13th. Obviously, we're not recording it at 4 o'clock in the morning on May 13th. But this is Tuesday night, the 11th. And I just listened to Trackside and heard them talking about probably the new television contract. Did you, by chance, listen to that?
I got in on the very end of the conversation, so I didn't get the build up to it. I don't know exactly what all was said, but
Well, and let me rephrase it. It's not the new contract, but there are rumors out there that this may be it for NBC. I know we've discussed that before. Kevin Lee was saying he does not think so, but then again, he's got a vested interest in NBC keeping the contract.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. But it apparently, I did not see the article. I think you actually texted me about it today. But apparently, Adam Stern wrote a article about negotiations, and right now it's not done, but right now it's kind of looking like things pointing towards CBS. I don't know why suddenly the people that when ABC had the contract and Versus, then NBCSN had the cable races, everybody just seemed to love NBC. Once NBC got all the races, suddenly it seems like everybody's turned on them. That's a phenomenon I don't understand. I think that if you were to look at any typical race broadcast that they are currently showing versus anything that was on ESPN or ABC 5 years ago, there's no comparison in my opinion.
I would agree with you, and to be honest, though, I have not seen the backlash really against NBC. I feel that IndyCar fans as a whole seem to be pleased with the NBC broadcast. Now, there are a lot out there that may not like one aspect or another. There are some that don't like, Marty Snyder. There's a lot that don't like Paul Tracy. Some may think Lee Diffey's over the top. Pretty much everyone unanimously agrees that Rutledge Wood is of no purpose to the broadcast whatsoever. And
he is unnecessary, and that's being about as kind as possible.
That's exceptionally gracious of you. But I think you and we've had discussions. There's some curious choices about some of their ancillary talent for the Indianapolis 500. But by and large, I feel like the product they put on has been very good. You'll get the standard moaning like, I don't want to pay for Peacock, just like I didn't want to pay for NBC Gold. It used to be free. Now I can't watch it unless I pay. What is it? I think I paid like $10 for 6 months or something like that, some crazy special they had going on. So you get those complaints. But I have not really seen much complaining about the quality of the broadcast or the substance that they've put on. I think NBC's done an exceptional job.
Well, I do too, and maybe it's just when I see the occasional griping, I just on social media, I just wonder what planet are you living on, and maybe it's the very loud minority that I'm hearing.
Sure.
But I'm shocked at how the masses, well, not the masses, as you point out, but just a lot of people seem to have turned on them, and I know IndyCar fans just love to gripe about anything.
Just point them back to Todd Harris videos on YouTube, and all complaints will be gone.
True. But they may be gone. I don't know. I think that fans should appreciate what they've got right now because, I mean, I've heard different rumors, read different things, just today and tonight, that one scenario I read about said that CBS will carry the 500 and then throw everything else on CBS Sports Network. Well, if you think NBCSN was Mickey Mouse compared to ESPN, CBS Sports Network that's about as rinky-dink as you can get.
Yeah.
And the drop off from CBS to CBS Sports Network is phenomenal. I mean, it's the drop off is just it's amazing.
I think the big question will be though is what does the streaming contract look like? And right now, even though NBC is putting a lot of stuff on Peacock, the races themselves are still not broadcast live on Peacock, as far as I know. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So if CBS gets this right, now CBS has their own streaming package that they push pretty hard. I think that's the Paramount Plus.
Paramount Network.
Right. And so I don't subscribe to that, but I mean, if I had to for another $40 a year, it would be worth it to me. There's a lot of other things that go with that, not just IndyCar racing. But I think the key will be, will the people who subscribe to Paramount or Paramount Plus or whatever it's called, the people that subscribe to that to follow IndyCar, will they be able to watch races live with that rather than forcing them onto a very limited distribution network, as you mentioned, like CBS Sports Network? And if not, if races live are solely on CBS, is CBS Sports Network, is that what it's called?
Yes.
I think you have a real problem then. I really do.
So, and like I said, that's just one. It could have been just some bloke on Facebook saying it, but and as I said, I did not read the Sports Business Journal article today, but anyway, that's just something to kind of toss around because I mean, stay tuned. Nothing's been decided. Nothing's going to be decided for probably. I think we'll probably know something midsummer, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But just something to keep an eye on. So anyway, shifting gears, it is the month of May.
Yep.
And you know, it's a different month of May, but it's certainly better than last May.
Yes.
But it's going to be very different. I think the biggest thing is going to be Saturday before the race. No Legends Day. No Legends Day concert. I'm not a big concert goer anymore these days. I'm too old, but I know a lot of you. I mean, we've been to a couple of the Legends Day concerts on Saturday night, but we always love to go to see the Roadsters run on Saturday morning, and then go to the museum go to the what do they call the thing?
The
what are they-
memorabilia swap.
yes, memorabilia show. Just sort of a very laid back
Yeah.
day. Just sort of kind of rest, but sort of take in your surroundings and just kind of think about what it's going to be like in 24 hours.
That's so. How you describe that is perfect. It is. It literally does feel like that calm before the storm. You're there on card day. It's an exciting day between the practice, the Freedom 100, the concert. It's a great atmosphere, and then Saturday is just such a chance to finally catch your breath, knowing what's coming the next day. I actually like Saturday. I really do. And
I do too. And
back this year.
Even before they had Legends Day, I used to like going there on Saturdays. We would still always go to the sort of a family tradition because my brothers are usually up there, both of them together on the Saturday before the race. But we would always go to the museum. Most times had already been to the museum once in that month, but we always go together. Susan's a big fan of the museum, by the way.
I'm not sure she is.
I'm thinking an email went out today from the museum. I don't know if you saw it, but I'm thinking by the way it reads that the museum will be open on Saturday.
I believe so. Yes.
They weren't real clear about that. I don't know who's writing their press releases and webpage directions these days, but they could be a little clearer to some
I
people.
know who isn't.
Huh?
I know who isn't.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's going to be different. It's going to be the crowd. Quite honestly, the smaller crowd on race day might actually be more enjoyable. Not having as much nuttiness after the race, just the what seems like just millions of people in the infield beforehand. You know what I'm talking about. That hour to an hour and a half before the drop of the green flag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're just all the masses forming around that red carpet back behind the pagoda,
Right.
And you can't get through anywhere.
And the worst is when you try to walk under the tunnel at the start finish line. You come out on I guess that would be the west side of the tunnel there, between the Paddock, Grandstand, and Georgetown. That distance may be 50 or 75 feet, and it is literally, not figuratively, but literally shoulder to shoulder for as far as you can see in any direction. I mean, there must be easily 75 to 100,000 people squeezed in there, and you're trying to get from one side to the other. And that is probably my least favorite portion of the entire month.
Yeah, I'll agree with you.
Through that,
isn't that one of the improvements that Roger Penske made last year?
I don't know. I haven't been there to see it. I guess we'll find out.
Well, I haven't either, but we do have a computer.
If so, I think that'd be great.
I think that'd be great. So anyway, but now you're not going to the Grand Prix.
I am not going to the Grand Prix.
Okay.
My son actually has a COVID vaccine. My 13-year-old son has a COVID vaccine appointment scheduled for Saturday morning now.
Okay. Well, that's not good planning. But Susan and I are going to the Grand Prix. She is not going to go to qualifying for scheduling reasons, but can't be worked around. But she's not going to go to qualifying weekend, so you and I are splitting a room, which will be interesting for the weekend.
Grumpy Old Men, or what is it? Not Grumpy Old Men. Yeah, the Grumpy Old. What was that movie?
Grumpy Old Men.
Okay, Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, Grumpy Old Men. You would be the Walter Matthau character.
Probably.
But Grand Prix predictions, or do we care, or what?
Well, it's either Power or Pagano. Which one you want?
No, Dixon won it last year, didn't he?
I don't know. Did he?
I think he did.
I don't know. All the 3 races they ran at IMS last year kind of all ran together.
Well, wasn't the Grand Prix just the second race of the season last year?
Was that the one they ran with the Brickyard 400?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't really count then as the Grand Prix.
Well, why not? Yes, it does.
No, you can't take. If it's not in May and then lead up to the 500, and it's just some ancillary warm-up event for the 400, that doesn't really count as the.
Okay, so are you saying that the 2020 500 didn't really count because it was run in August in front of no fans?
No, it was the main event of that weekend. It still counts.
Okay. Well, you and I tend to disagree on that one. Yes, Dixon won the Grand Prix last year, and I want to say, who was it that crashed? Was that Askew that crashed coming onto the straightaway?
Yes, that was his first big crash in the month.
Yes, because then he had the massive one in the 500. Not in the month, but
yes, yeah, I guess that is. It is still hard to disassociate those, regardless of whether they were 1 month or separated.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Dixon's going to repeat at the Grand Prix.
I will say that the Power Pagano stranglehold on the Grand Prix during the month of May will end, but it will stay in the Penske house, and Joseph Newgarden will come home with the win.
So you don't think Scott McLaughlin will come home with the win?
I do not.
Okay. I think we're both in agreement on that too. Nice guy, but I think the media has just already anointed him as the next greatest thing.
Yep, sure seems that way.
That needs to be proven on the track.
Yep.
I'm still saying that ever since Roger Penske left the pit box in his now current role as owner of the series, the 500, I still say that Team Penske has sort of lost their edge.
I don't know if I'm ready to go that far. I mean, Newgarden still had a good year last year. Just because you don't win a championship doesn't mean, yeah, we're talking about Penske here, and anytime Penske doesn't win a championship, he's off. But he still had a good year last year. Power's off to his best start this year, as he has been in. Probably all the way back to about his championship season of 2014.
But that's because he always has a horrible start. This time it's a decent start.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that they're losing a step because Penske's not on the box here.
Well, let's see. I think I'm doing this by memory. I think Newgarden won 4 races last year. Is that correct?
You're close enough that I wouldn't argue with it.
Because I know he won at St. Pete, the season finale. I don't know what else he won, to be honest with you. But, and I think Power won 2 races. Is that right?
Well, you know what? Let me fire up the Wikipedia machine here. You go on with your soliloquy, and I'll figure out what's going on.
Okay, let's move it up to current year, 2021. Andretti has won a race. Ganassi has won 2 races. Alex Palou has won a race. Colton Herta has won a race. And Pato O'Ward has won a race with McLaren. So what's missing in that picture? Penske drivers.
There is no Penske. You're right. No, you're right.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. To follow up on your previous point, you were correct that Newgarden did win 4 races. He won Iowa 2, Gateway 2, IMS 1, and St. Pete. Okay.
What is IMS 1?
Well, when they ran the doubleheader
Oh, the Harvest.
Harvest Grand Prix.
Okay.
Yeah, he won the first of those races.
Okay.
Which, by the way, Scott Dixon did win the GMR Grand Prix last year. That was the second of his 3 wins to start the season.
Yes. I knew that.
I was confirming that.
Okay.
So, what's going on with Penske this year? I don't know. I mean, it's a very competitive field. I mean, Ganassi is going to be strong. I think people were surprised Palou won at Barber. I don't think people were expecting that.
I was surprised.
Sure, right. I don't know that anyone is shocked that Herta won at wherever it was that Herta won. Good grief, my brain is
St. Pete.
St. Pete. Thank you. I don't think anyone's surprised that Herta won. Certainly, no one's ever going to be surprised that Dixon wins. I think it's an incredibly deep field. I don't think that they're out to lunch.
I didn't say they're out to lunch, but I think they've lost just a slight edge that they had when Penske was standing there watching everything.
That could be. It could be. I think it's just that the field is catching up. I think it's a tighter field. I think I think Palou is much more talented than people, including my current company, will give him credit for. I think anytime Andretti Autosport starts to show life again, it brings the whole series up, quite honestly. And I mean, Andretti they've had one car in contention, it seems like, since Hunter Ray's championship in 2012. But that one car, unfortunately, rotates. Sometimes it's Ryan Hunter-Reay, sometimes it's Andretti, Rossi. Every once in a while, it'll be Hinch or Herta, but never more than one at a time, it seems. So if you really get Rossi, who just can't escape the bad luck, and you get Herta going, I mean, again, you're elevating so many other teams that I think Penske may be at 99%, but everyone else has gone from 95 to 96. And so I don't think that Penske is losing a step as much as the field is really catching up to them. And I do not expect that in 3 weeks we'll be having the conversation that Penske's entire armada was as out to lunch at the Indianapolis 500 as they were last year. I do not expect to see a repeat performance of what was quite honestly a lackluster, if not almost disastrous, month for their team last year.
Yeah. Shifting gears to a driver who sought greener pastures, do you think Felix Rosenqvist might wish he was back at Ganassi?
No.
No?
No. I don't think the car is that problem. I've never been sold on Rosenqvist.
So my next question is, do you think McLaren wishes that Rosenqvist was back at Ganassi?
Who was over Oliver Askew? If that was who was in there? I don't know. I think Rosenqvist is probably going to bring home the car in better condition than Askew had a habit of doing last year. But nonetheless, I still think Rosenqvist is on a very short leash. Sam Schmidt and Ed Carpenter are usually fight it out for who keeps their drivers on the shortest leash and who has less forgiveness for lackluster results. And unless Rosenqvist turns it around quickly, I think the 7 will have another driver in that seat next year.
Yep, I think you're right.
And I won't be shocked if it ends up being Simon Pagenaud back in that ride.
I think that you could be right on that one too, because I think that when they gave Power that contract at St. Pete, I think that pretty well answered some questions. I know a lot of people, oh no, it's just they're going to work it out. No, I think Roger Penske wants to get back to, or Tim Cindric, whoever wants to get back to a 3-car team. I don't think they like running 4 cars, and that's what they're doing right now. and I think they're capable of doing it. I just think they don't like to do it. And I think that when Pagano won 2 years ago, I started to say last year, but 2 years ago, he was on his career at Penske was on fumes then, and he bought himself some time. I think that time has run out. I think if he does not pull another miracle out in this May, I think that he's auditioning for other teams for next year. And I think what you say about being in the number 7, I think that's a good landing spot for him.
The concern I have there is I cannot really think of any driver ever who has ever returned to a team and had a successful, happy run. So a driver that was with a team, left said team, and then came back.
What about Michael Andretti leaving Neiman Haas and then coming back?
Yeah, but did he ever really have the success after, when he came back in 95 and ran there through whatever it would have been, 99-ish? I forget when he left there.
He didn't have
I don't know that he had the success that he had pre-Formula One days. Paul Tracy did not have the happy times at Penske when he went back there in 96 that he had prior to 95 when he jumped to Newman Haas. Now I'm drawing. Hinch has not had necessarily a good time at Andretti this year.
No, he has not.
Away for several seasons. There are other examples too, and of course, as soon as I open my mouth, you can go back in history. Allinger Sr. Throw out the obvious '87 Indianapolis 500 win. When he went back to Penske, wasn't really a whole lot of success then. So going back to an old girlfriend usually doesn't work out real well.
True.
From that standpoint, I could see Simon and Sam Schmidt being a little bit leery about rekindling that fire. I've always felt that Simon had a personal allegiance to Honda, more so than he probably does to Chevrolet. And although if Penske's was Chevrolet, then your allegiance is to Chevrolet.
Yeah.
But if Simon is cut loose from Penske and truly has allegiances to Honda, I think the Marcus Ericsson experiment in the number 8 car comes to a quick end over at Ganassi as well. Okay. Because I can't see. I think if I'm Simon Pagenaud, and I'm not, my life is good, but it's not Simon Pagenaud level good yet. If I'm Simon Pagenaud and I'm offered a Roger Penske sports car ride over pretty much anything else in IndyCar short of a Chip Ganassi ride, I'd probably stay in the Penske fold and head over to sports cars. If that's an offer.
Yeah. All right. We are coming up on the 30-minute mark. And I said before we started this, I want to keep it under 30 minutes. So
you're going to turn into a pumpkin soon, aren't you?
Yes, I am. But, I would like to do this again before the 500. Maybe we could do one of these at, I know we did one of these at Indianapolis right after qualifying a couple of years ago. It was that year that Spaniard, Formula One, what's his name?
Alonso,
thank you. Old age. When Fernando Alonso got bumped.
That's right.
I think we did one of those from IMS right after that. So maybe we could do another one of those. I don't know. We'll see.
That'd be a good time. Okay, here one question then before we go. 3 cars, likely 3 cars are going home from the 500 this year. We're expecting 36 cars, might be 35, but we expect 36. Will a full-time entrant be one of the 3 going home?
Yes. And I said that in my article that ran today.
I think you're right as well. I think
Dalton Kellett will be the one.
I'm not ready to go that far. It tends to be when somebody goes home, it's somebody surprising who you're not expecting.
I think that
they're necessarily out to lunch, but it could be if you have a crash on a Friday, you could be really screwed. If you catch a bad weather like Rossi did a couple of years ago, he caught a bad break when the track shut down for weather, and he was the first car back out. You could have a strategy screw up like Hinchcliffe's team did. When there are any number of reasons why a team could go home other than being straight too slow.
Or you could crash the car and then send it back to the paint shop because it was not the correct shade of papaya orange.
That would be a problem as well.
Yes.
Yes. Or just not show up with a steering wheel. That's frowned upon as well. But I agree. I think 2 expected teams will go home, and I think there will be another shocker of a team going home.
I think the 2 one-offs will be Top Gun if they show, which until we see them on the entry list or actually see them on the track, I still think they're tentative at best. I think the Rick Ware car, the number 52. I mean, we're less than a week away from the start of practice, and do we know who that driver is going to be?
R.C. Enerson, isn't it? Oh wait, no, he's in.
No, he's Top Gun.
He's Top Gun. Then no, I don't believe we do.
They ran Cody Ware at the open test. Something points to the fact that he's probably not going to be in that car. So who is? And I think both those cars being that uncertain this close to practice, I think is a recipe for disaster. And also, Kellett to me seems like he has taken a step backwards. Because he didn't run every race last year, did he?
No, because he was in the 4 car last year. He was in the 15 car that he split with Tony Kanaan last year.
With Tony Kanaan and also Bourdais.
Bourdais, that's correct, yes.
And was there a 4th driver in that car at one time? Or was it just those 3? But Kellett, I think everybody says he had a decent run at Indianapolis, and I couldn't tell you where he finished. But I think a lot of people are defining a decent run, meaning he did not crash.
But he did crash.
He did crash?
He did crash.
In the race itself?
Yes, he did.
Okay, well, scratch that. And this is off on a tangent, but I just proved this. I have never once gone back and watched the 2020 race. Ever. I saw it live on television, but I did not like watching it with empty stands, and did not like watching it with me on my couch instead of being there. And there was just nothing that I really wanted to watch it again for.
It really wasn't particularly memorable, unfortunately, which, if I'm being honest, and there'll be I have plans for a post on this on Field of 33 coming up soon. All of the oval events, quite honestly, since 2018 have been lackluster, quite honestly, at best. You can go back to 18, 19, 20, any of those Indianapolis 500s. There's very little to go back and look at, be like, oh, yes, that'll be an iconic moment.
So, in other words, you're advocating for the return of the Aero kits.
I don't know. Not necessarily the Aero kits, and I'm not saying that we have to have whatever obscene number of passes there were in 2013, 68 or something like that. But, you know, we saw it again at Texas last week, and everyone knows how bad it was. But when the leader cannot pass the last place car to be lapped and has to follow in line behind him for 40 laps until one of them pits, there's a serious problem here. In IndyCar, they keep saying they're trying to, you know, take steps to alleviate this, but they're trying to mow a hayfield with a pair of scissors here. We're taking minute baby swings at this thing, and the entire oval philosophy and just the way ovals are done on track and off needs to be blown up and started over again completely. But that's for a different time. And
Yeah, well, I mean, when is the new car coming online? 23?
23 or 24.
God, this one's going to be 12 years old by that time.
I think they're going to keep the tub, aren't they? And then just basically do what they did in 18 and put a new kit around it. Maybe not.
I thought they're going to be completely new cars.
But the 2018 car was supposed to be the savior. Remember how bad Phoenix was the first 2 years we ran there, and everyone's like, "No, just wait, hold on, just settle down. You know, 2018 car's coming. It's going to fix everything. It's going to be harder to drive. We're going to have less downforce. We're going to have more power. We're going to create downforce from the underwing. Everything's going to be fine. It's all going to be great." It's been worse than it's ever been in my 30 years of watching IndyCar racing.
But they look better.
Yeah. Enjoy seeing pictures of them.
You just froze up. Do what?
I said I enjoy seeing it. I like pictures of them.
Okay.
But as soon as there's a video and I can watch a race,
hey, well, your video is now starting to freeze up, so we're gonna you must get your internet from Kevin Lee. So.
Yeah, that or Mark Miles has tapped into our feed and is watching us. That's heard my rant starting to shutting us down now.
So anyway, you got anything else before we wrap this up?
No one's paying attention now anyway. Let's wrap it up.
Well, both of our listeners are still watching this, I'm sure.
Hi, Mom.
All right. Well, anyway, I guess I will see you in about a week and a half.
All right.
Up at the track. Susan and I will talk about you while we're there this coming weekend.
Enjoy a tenderloin for me.
I will. And so
with a classic jumbo tenderloin and a Dawson's.
If I eat a tenderloin at the track, I will probably get something else at Dawson's that night. But if I don't, and I'm not talking about that abomination behind the pagoda, I'm talking about the classic jumbo tenderloin.
The preformed patty, yes.
Oh, that thing was just, Anyway, anything else?
Nope, let's wrap it up.
All right. So for Paul Dalby, I am George Phillips. Thank you for watching.